Yeah, let's talk about Sarah Burton's Givenchy. Falling further into the abyss is a bit harsh, but
Yeah,
let's talk about Sarah
there are
Burton's
others that fall
Givenchy.
much harder
Yeah, for sure, agreed.
than her.
In general, because I've reviewed a lot of, well, it's not a lot, but her Givenchy collections
Mm.
from her
Yeah.
debut. Actually, first of all, I'm not sure I've gotten your thoughts, but what were your thoughts on like Sarah Burton's Givenchy debut? And then we can talk about this collection.
I wouldn't say I disliked it. I think she's trying to introduce something. So she is very, how to say, she's trying to introduce the silhouette that she wants to have at Givenchy. So there were some that were very interesting in my opinion. I wouldn't say she's falling into the abyss. I wouldn't say that. I've seen much worse. I like many of the pieces to be honest. Like I like the neckline here. I like how some of the pieces were constructed, and she wants to give that very clean cut vision to Givenchy, which could be interesting. But I want to see more. It's not enough yet for me
And
to
just
just.
making the couture silhouettes contemporary. Like in my initial review, especially of her debut collection, I did actually show people all the different couture references
Yes,
from like all the different time periods that she was referencing and kind of how she's doing it. She's kind of like exaggerating everything. So the
yes,
tailoring is old Givenchy couture, but she's made it wider. Or like the bow details are very Givenchy couture, but she's made them comically big, right?
yes. I mean, it look very contemporary.
Yeah,
So you see, that's an interesting information that you're adding for people to understand that she just didn't do whatever. There is thought behind that. Then, I mean, for me, it's interesting in terms of clothing. It is interesting. It can become more interesting. She did also that beautiful jacket that is open at the back. It's very structured.
yeah,
Many people like that. I don't know if it is in the first collection here or in the second one. I'm not sure. I think it was in the debut. Not sure.
yeah. I can't remember what collection, but I know the cut.
Yeah, it's not enough yet for me, but I wouldn't dismiss it. I want to see just more where she's going. I want to see that.
Yeah, I think first of all, because she's only had two collections, I believe,
Yes,
and I think her second collection to me, I don't know, like it's kind of weird. So both collections are kind of like there's pieces I like and pieces I don't. So I don't
yes,
even know like what I prefer between like her first and second collection, to be honest.
they're
But
more or less
I,
level, you would say.
yeah, they're like on the same level. But I think she's getting there though.
Yes, I think so too. We should give her a little bit more time. I think it's not. I mean, you can tell she wants to say something and develop a vision for the brand. It doesn't look like like we said for Calvin Klein or Jill Sander, that you can tell from the start that there is no interest in that. It's meaningless.
Agreed.
For the place or it's. I mean, they're very beautiful. These little dresses. I like them, and they are very well made. You can tell the clothes are very well made. At least most of them. So we will see. It can. Yeah.
Luke said it's also just completely lacking the rigor and finesse that she had at McQueen, which was really strange.
I don't think she's like,
Ah,
it's just a different way of doing clothes. I mean, McQueen was a different thing for, now that's the piece, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, which is very interesting. You see interesting clothes, it's well
yeah.
made. So, not, as you said, not everything, but I think she's getting there. She's creating a color palette. I don't know. I don't think this is bad.
Yeah, I think with her Givenchy, like with both collections, my takeaway is like she's almost there. Like
Yes.
she's almost there because for every like interesting piece we see like that opening like this. For every interesting piece, we see something like this. Where I'm just like,
Yes, yes, I agree. Yeah. Somewhere like, why is this there for?
yeah, so that's what's confusing me. So I've seen a lot of good stuff from her at Givenchy, to be
Yes,
honest, but
yes.
I've also seen a lot of bad stuff. So that's why I'm just like in my mind mentally, I'm like, oh, she's almost there. She's almost. I also
Yeah.
think that she understands volume a lot more than like JW Anderson, for example, because I think that this whole like Rococo bow that Givenchy and Christian Dior themselves are really inspired by, and the fact that JW Anderson is trying to bring it back. You see Sarah Bassett trying to bring it back. It's cool, but I prefer the way that she does it. To
Different way. Yes. She does it in a different way.
that bridal look was also a big conversation. I remember at the time when the collection came out. Do we actually think this will translate to commercial success and arrival for Givenchy, or do we think she'll be replaced in another 2 or 3 years? Again, like Williams.
No, Williams
Yeah,
was, yeah.
yeah.
We cannot compare because he was not successful in that. He was not. I don't know what was the choice for him to be a G. He was very good at Alex, but
But Alix and like they're just
I think
so
it will
different.
have.
Like
I think it will have a commercial success. That's what I think.
yeah, one of them is like a historical couture house, and another one is like Alix was like made really nice commercial pieces. Like
Yeah,
they're just totally different. They're in
yeah.
totally different stratospheres, to be honest.
And I'm sure she has a much, much broader and deeper know-how than him when it comes
Of
to
course.
it's we
Of
cannot compare.
course. It's not
And
even close. Like
huh?
Sarah
Yeah,
Burton comes from the school of Alexander McQueen.
exactly. So
Like Matthew Williams comes from the school of like Bin Trill. It's like it's just not even comparable.
I mean, he used a lot of styling to try to save the collections, but you could tell he cannot do that.
Yeah.
It was very uncomfortable to watch.
This is a perfectly fine collection. Are you into edgier designers or is it too far of a departure from the masters? Are you asking me or someone in the chat? I'm not sure if that's a question for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought I make my taste be known.
Yes.
And then obviously this is like her more recent collection, which wanted same thing. There were a lot of pieces that I really liked, and then a lot of pieces that.
Yeah.
Do you know? Funny enough, what I really liked from Givenchy was when Matthew Williams left, and it was the team designing the collections. I really liked all those collections.
Yes.
There wasn't
Yes.
a lot of conversation around those collections because there wasn't a big figurehead to create those talking points. But I went to a lot of Reese's at the time. I know I've talked about them on the live stream. The clothing was really good. Like it was really, really
Yeah.
good. That was all clothing that I think would do well commercially.
Yes. Yes. But I think this will also do well. I hope. I don't know.
Yeah.
I find the clothes beautiful and wearable if you're a little bit current in what you wear. It's not that it's not that avant-gardistic, that difficult to wear.
And some of these like Sarah Burton things, some of them remind me of like Courage. Like some of the silhouettes of tailoring, like with the crop tailoring and stuff like that. It
Yeah,
is more to like Courage.
yes, but in a much more sophisticated way.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, not that you mentioned courage. I don't even look at what I say courage.
No, I love
I,
Courage, but it is a bit samey, like season to season.
yes, yes, yes.
It is a bit samey, to be honest. But I do still love Courage, though. I think Givenchy will continue to suffer without either A, an unknown genius who will be plucked from a school, or junior department of a brand, or B, a superstar designer who will reposition it. Do you know what Givenchy needs? A Galliano, basically. Not
Uh,
necessarily Galliano himself. I mean, he's already been there and done that. But like a Galliano type designer that's just going to take the archive and turn it into a completely different world. It won't work any other way, I don't think. It just
yeah,
won't work any other way. Because the problem when you do like the really nice, clean, the problem with, and I think someone mentioned it in the chat, and it's something I say all the time, is that these brands are becoming too homogenous. They're all starting to look like each other.
yes,
They're all aesthetically coming a bit too close to each other. And it's like, as a consumer,
very
what do you
problematic.
pick?
Yeah, yeah.
I feel those days are over. It's getting harder to build the skills to design at that level year over year. Is it getting harder or designers just don't care as much? I don't think it's getting harder.
Yeah, I
If
agree.
I wanted to be like an insane designer, I could dedicate like the next 10 years. I'll be like, okay, I'm going to spend 3 years Savile Row. I'm going to spend 3 years under this designer, 3 years under this designer, and then 1 year under this designer. And then in 10 years, I'll be like an insane designer. And hopefully I would have built my point of view and my
Yes,
own personal vision. I think it's just down to like, are you willing to do that or not? You need to remember that these designers that we hail were obsessives. Like Cristobal Balenciaga from when he was a kid. Like, I mean, you read books about Cristobal Balenciaga when he's talking about where he used to live. There was this rich woman who ended up being his patron who was like, you can't copy this Paul Poiret dress. I don't believe it. And he copied it as a kid. Or the fact that he was constantly constructing things with the things that he had. These were like really curious designers that constantly worked on their craft 24/7. I just think designers don't care as much, to be honest. I don't think it's like they
yeah.
can't do it. I think they definitely
No,
can.
yeah. I mean, of course, there is the talent there, but like with great talent comes great obsession in a way, as you said. And obsession means a lot of work, a lot of research, attention to detail, all these things. So it's possible. Of course, it's possible. But you
Mm.
have to be, as you said, obsessed with it somehow. Yeah, like with
As a
everything.
fashion student, I can tell you that the kids are not all right. The schools are not delivering the skills in
Oh my God.
education. We need to be designers of that caliber.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I think doesn't help? This is going to be like really controversial, but I don't care. I do think that the educational system, I think because of like, I don't know if it's like the political climate we're in or the social climate, doesn't allow for kids to be trained properly. So what I mean by that is like, even when I was at Central St. Martin's, which was not that long ago, like 2 to 3 years ago, it felt like lecturers had to walk on eggshells because like anything they say could be misconstrued and they could be cancelled and they could be fired. That is not a good
No.
a good for training people, because when you're training people, you're teaching people, you want to be able to tell them that is bad, and let me tell you why it's bad. Like, and you can't care about some kid crying because you said their work is bad, because in the real world people don't care. Like, you think people care? Like, people just don't care. So it's best you get over that in school. So I think, unfortunately, especially in fashion schools, you're starting to see that a lot of the really famous teachers who are the reason why we've seen a lot of, you know, these amazing designers, those kind of lecturers are being pushed out in favor of lecturers that just walk on eggshells, don't really say anything.
Yes.
They don't even tell you that your work is bad. They're like, maybe do this instead. Positive reinforcement. That just doesn't, I don't think that lends to good training. I just don't think it's as helpful as like people think it is, personally.
No, I agree with you. Yeah. It's not about being harsh. It's being about being, honest about it so that
Yeah.
I'm better. Actually, it's a good thing. Otherwise, we say everything is good and then, yeah. It's a little bit like what you said for Jean-Paul Gaultier, like we shouldn't judge much. And no, we should. If something is
Yeah.
bad, we should be able to say something is bad. I mean, of course, there has to be a reasoning behind that. But of course, it's equally important.
Because those designers that we praise, they used to work. Like, I would read stories where Yves Saint Laurent would sketch 1,000 looks for a Dior show, and Christian Dior would only pick like 10. Like, it's crazy. How you design, like, come up with like 1,000 concepts, and they're like, I only like 10. Like, that's crazy.
Wow, that's impressive.
Did someone say Saint Laurent Saint Laurent is a film studio. No, someone is saying like Saint Laurent is a film studio. It is actually a film studio. They worked on, what's that film? Skip My Mind. What was it? How is it Skip My Mind? But anyway, they were involved in that film. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, let's talk about Saint Laurent then.
Yeah.
We didn't talk
Wait,
about
someone said on fashion design, we didn't actually talk about Saint Laurent, to be honest. On fashion design courses as well, when specific skills aren't taught, such as pattern drafting, and you bring them up to lecturers, a common response would be to teach yourself rather than them. Yeah, so it's so weird because like fashion school is such a weird place, especially because before I went to St. Martin's, I didn't even do fashion design. I studied journalism, right? But I had been a pattern maker because the first job that I got in fashion, I was like an intern that didn't have a clue about fashion. And so they just made me do everything down to like learn to make patterns, learn to do this. So I just learned everything on the job as a guy that just didn't know what I was doing. And obviously, eventually I got good at it. And I found it so strange that, yeah, Emilia Perez, thank you guys. I found it so strange that when I finally went to fashion school and I would look at the design students complain about they're not taught how to make patterns, I'm like, how could you not be taught to make patterns? That's like so fundamental to clothing design. It just doesn't make sense for them to like tell you to learn that yourself.
Many fashion students at St. Martin's and elsewhere. I think Antwerp is good in that, I hope. Paris is the same, like a little bit like IFM, I think is a little bit like St. Martin's in the sense that I was shocked. I didn't know that. And so a student was telling me, I have to learn how to use the sewing machine myself. And I'm like, so they're not teaching you how to make clothes, which is like the most basic thing, because if you don't know how to make clothes, then you cannot do anything. Then everything looks like an art project that is falling apart,
Yeah.
You should first learn how to do, like the best example is McQueen, again, because pattern cutting for suits, which is the most classic thing, but it's a very difficult thing to make. And then from there, he developed his own pattern cuttings his own patterns that were so unique to him that people still study. But like, how can you not have experienced pattern makers to teach you? How can you learn that by yourself?
You
It's
can't.
like,
That's the funny thing. You can't, because like
no, you can't.
you can learn pattern making on yourself, but your progress will be really slow
Yeah,
because pattern making is like a science mixed with a skill, and there's
exactly.
just certain things that you
Yeah.
won't know unless you've been doing it for years. So like when I learned to make patterns, the
Mm,
pattern maker that we had was a guy that used to work at Balenciaga
yeah.
during like Nicolas Gasquier years. So he would show me stuff that honestly I never would have learned if he wasn't there. Like you're not gonna find that kind of information on the internet. Like I'll be making like a pattern for trousers and he'll like show me some like crazy techniques and be like, do you know that based on like the way someone walks, you would change the pattern this way? Or if someone has like a bow leg, you would make the pattern this way. So it kind of removes that shape of their leg and it makes their leg look more straight with the way that they walk. And like stuff like that was so advanced, I just wouldn't know stuff like that unless he was like telling me directly. So, and to me, I think it's the fundamentals of like fashion design. If you don't know how to make patterns, like you can be a good designer without being a good pattern maker, but it's rare. It's really, really rare. If you think of the best ones, like whether we're talking about McQueen, one of the reasons why he's one of the best designers we've ever seen is like that background, the same as John Galliano. It's just a certain level of like ideas that can come to your head if you're good at making patterns that won't come. You won't even
Exactly.
think about it if like
Yes.
you just
Yes.
don't
Yeah,
you
because
don't
you
have
know
those
how to
skills.
construct clothes. So from that, you know what is possible, what is not, and then teaching how to be creative. I mean, that's like that you can teach yourself. You can read. You can be exposed to art and develop that is much easier than to like you cannot think yourself into doing patterns. It's a technical thing. Somebody has to teach you that.
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's so weird.
We
Yeah,
see
Saint
some
Laurent.
more bows again. Like I said,
uh,
everyone is going the Rococo direction.
Yes. So, I mean, this is like more about styling than anything else, like creating that kind of woman. Of course, the leather pieces are going to be well made, I believe, most of them. I like the menswear much more. My menswear spring summer I liked a lot. The colorways are fantastic. But then, do we see something new? Not really. Like something innovative.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say maybe on menswear and women's wear, maybe a little bit the shoulder structure. It's a little bit more exaggerated than 80s. In some cases, I would say it's even a little bit more and a little bit sharper. But then if we have like to talk about innovation, but I guess
Yeah,
at this
we've
point,
seen it
Salon
before, but
innovation, I don't know, it sells so good that we don't need to innovate anything. But this is not, it's a sad thing, but it's like this.
I think I love it because so few people are doing this Saint Laurent like power shoulder now.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about it, because
Yeah.
even into the most like basic garments, like you just buy a plain shirt from Saint Laurent, but the shoulders are really structured. It
Yeah.
looks so different to like what so many other brands are offering. And I think that's why so many people love it, especially women. Like you see, like in London, I see women wearing Saint Laurent a lot actually.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Of course, it's very sleek and elegant and chic. Definitely, it's very French chic, sexy. I mean, many women would gravitate around that.
Like you go to like Mayfair, you're gonna see a lot of people wearing Saint Laurent, like Mayfair especially, or like when I go to Harrods, I see a lot of people wearing Saint Laurent, Knightsbridge, and all those kind of places.
Yeah,
Oh, this is about what our discussion earlier. Without the technique, you can be limited in your ideas.
yeah, of
At
course.
some point, you have to be able to respond to technical questions from the atelier. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just not even. I just don't understand it. It's like I've spoken about like the person who I work for now is like a leather craftsman, right? And he is a master leather craftsman. Like he like worked at Bottega Veneta. He like yeah. But anyway, any technical question I have for him, he has an answer. I don't think there's one technical question that he hasn't been able to answer comprehensively. So as a designer, say I wanted to become a leather craftsman, who knows, maybe in the future, he would be the perfect person to teach me how to do that. So as a designer, how difficult must it be to work under someone that doesn't have those skills, who is like telling you to do things that they don't even know how to get there?
I mean, it's complicating it for no reason. It's like putting people in uncomfortable situations where they have to create things knowing how to make it. It's like, why should we do that?
Because you can't even direct it properly. Like you can tell them, okay, make this dress, and they're like, how? And you're like, figure it out, and they're like, okay. Versus like if McQueen is like, make this, and they're like, how? And he's like, oh, okay, so the pattern needs to be this way, and then you allow for like this seam, and then you allow for this, and then you have to add a few centimeters here, and then da da da, and like this is why I do it this way. And you'd even see McQueen working on the floor and like showing them exactly how, and then they go and make it, and then they come back. I just can't imagine working for someone that doesn't know how to design. That would be so annoying.
Yes, 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 of course. Maybe that's why sometimes you end up with clothes on the catwalk that look so bad, you know? I mean, it's
Yeah.
pattern cut majorly.
Okay, people are still arguing about the power shoulders in the chat. The strong shoulder balances out my figure and looks very polished. Yeah, that's why people
Yeah,
love it.
you know, it's an 80s classic feminine kind of.
The thought at CSM is that it should all be about creativity and the skills takes away from that focus. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Of course it is. Yeah.
That is so stupid.
Because you're not creating art, you're just, you're making clothes, which is like a thing that is a practical thing, you know?
That is so stupid.
I mean, it's like
every great designer is partially good because of their technical skill. Every single one. Like, whether that's Givenchy or, I don't know, like Balenciaga, McQueen, or
I mean,
Galliano.
you can be genius and be self-taught, like Alaya.
Yeah.
He learned how to do, I was reading, he learned how to do clothes by being first collecting Dior. So he was looking at all the aspects, and from that, he deducted how he would pattern cut. I mean, you have to be, this is like quite painful. You have to become and still you have to be a genius, like somebody who is really talented to figure out this kind of things. But why should we do that when we can really, there's so many good pattern cutters, they can teach from their experience. I don't know,
it's like, it doesn't make sense why you wouldn't. That's why I said if I wanted to learn how to make patterns, I'm going straight to Savile Row. Like, it's just like, why not? Like, even Stella McCartney, and I talked about this recently with Edward Sexton, like, she comes from that, like, she was taught by Edward Sexton. That's why her tailoring is so sharp. She comes from that Savile Row school of thought. Like, you can't be a good designer and like not think about technical things in any way. Rick Owens had to train his technical skills, all of them, even Tom Ford, even designers that are considered to like not be that good are still, when you look at like their background, like Tom Ford, for example, you'd see that they've trained under some really good designers. So it's really stupid that in CSM they think, it's all about creativity. No, I think actually you shouldn't think about creativity for your first years designing. I think it should all be technical.
Yes.
And then when you master the technical, then you can be creative, because now you're creative with the skill.
Yeah. You're not just fantasizing about something on a sketch, but you don't know how to make it.
Like, it's better to be creative with the skill rather than just like sewing rags together. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I personally don't understand it.
Stella McCartney, then now she's such an underrated designer. People don't talk
Super
about.
Super underrated.
I just went to the book a few days ago because I had seen the clothes on the catwalk, and I wanted to see if they had some dresses, and they did have. And the draping is so good on the dresses. She has some structure pieces that are very beautiful, very well made. Her suits are always fantastic. If you want to buy a woman's suit, for me, Stella McCartney's. And also even her vegan leather pieces, they're so high quality, because for people who do not know, she has done so much research. She's the only one who doesn't use leather and feather. So she spent, I think, a lot of money on research and development to create things that are equal quality, because it's very difficult actually to make a non-leather shoe that is as comfortable as a leather shoe.
Yeah.
That doesn't wear off, like very often vegan, cheap, vegan is very difficult, but it doesn't get old in a good way. It becomes, so we should talk more about her, she does very interesting clothes. She has her own signature. I don't feel she's copying anybody. And it's relatively affordable compared to other brands. Like, you can buy a dress for a good price, and it's a very interesting dress you can have with a great draping. And it's a shame they don't talk enough about Stella McCartney. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also like her time at Chloe was so important.
Yes.
Historically. And obviously Phoebe Philo worked for Stella McCartney, and then obviously she had her time at Chloe. So going back to the Phoebe Philo fans once again, there's actually a lot of stuff that Phoebe Philo does that is from Stella McCartney.
Yeah.
But if you were to tell like the average Phoebe Philo fan that like, you know, like she's heavily inspired by Stella McCartney, you'll be like, no, she's not. Phoebe Philo is the god.
No, yes. She learned things out of the voice. Yeah.
No, I'm a big fan of Stella McCartney. I think Stella McCartney is one of the few Nepo babies that's actually really good.
Yes,
like very talented.
Yes.
Most Nepo babies just have money, but they have absolutely no skill. Like, no, Stella is actually like a really good designer.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, Luke said her Chloe is good. This YouTube channel runs on your support. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You'll gain access to exclusive content that includes everything from my Patreon podcast, where I give a behind-the-scenes insight into the fashion industry, as well as a fashion book club, where I review my favorite fashion books. You can also check out my fashion ebook, which highlights the best fashion journalists to follow, definitions of common fashion terminology, and how to determine what a good source of fashion information is. The links to everything are in the description below.